What if you woke up and the first thing you saw wasn't the ceiling? Imagine it. There's no soft morning light filtering through a window, no dusty motes dancing in a sunbeam. There's only a single, persistent icon floating in the blackness, a simple, low battery symbol, glowing a gentle, insistent red in the corner of your vision. It pulses a calm, corporate heartbeat, a reminder your real eyes flutter open, but you don't see the world with them. Not yet. You're aware of a dull, familiar pressure on your temples, the bridge of your nose, the faint, sterile smell of cooling gel and recycled air. You can feel the slight indentation the rig leaves on your skin, a phantom sensation that never really fades. This is your morning. This is every morning. The first real task of your day isn't stretching or yawning or reaching for a loved one. It's a system diagnostic. Optic nerve connection. Stable. Haptic calibration required. Good morning, user. You don't reply. Who would you be talking to? You just lie there in the quiet dark of your physical space, and you focus. In the void of your mind's eye, a menu shimmers into view. You navigate it without a sound, without a gesture. A twitch of intent. The system is old. You know the pathways by heart. This is the visceral reality of a world that has fully embraced the virtual. It isn't sleek. It isn't a clean, luminous escape. It's hardware, cumbersome, heavy, constantly in event update hardware. Settle in for a moment. Find a comfortable spot. It doesn't really matter where you are listening to this from or what time it is there. In the world we're about to build together, time is, well, it's a subscription service. And the servers are notoriously unreliable. I'm curious, where are you right now? Let me know in the comments. It's good to feel grounded in a real place before we drift off. And if you enjoy these little late night dives into what ifs, a subscription to the channel is like a vote of confidence that we're not the only ones asking these questions. We've all seen the utopian fantasies, the glossy advertisements showing people soaring through digital cities or collaborating in perfect holographic boardrooms. You might imagine that a world where VR replaced reality would be an endless adventure. Let's be brutally honest with ourselves. It would be a nightmare. Cheap, buggy, freemium nightmare designed by a committee. It all starts with the hardware, the rig, the thing you are wearing right now in this imagined future. It's not some lightweight, fashionable pair of glasses. It's a medical grade device leased to you by your employer, or more likely, your creditor. Think less of a consumer electronic and more of a life support system. It has a weight that you feel in your neck muscles, a constant low-grade ache. That is the price of admission. The fans would just quietly enough to be a permanent feature of your auditory landscape. You'd be tempted to think this is just for your eyes and ears, but no, that's just the entry-level package. For true immersion, for the privilege of working your corporate job or attending your mandatory civic assemblies, you need the full sensory suit. And that thing, it's a masterpiece of inconvenient design. It's a network of cheap, vibrating motors and temperature pads woven into a synthetic fabric that is inevitably just a little bit itchy. Calibration is a daily ritual, a tedious dance of striking poses so the system can map your body. Extend your left arm. Now your right. An error has been detected. You'd learn to hate that calm, synthetic voice. Admit it. You'd skip the firmware update too, wouldn't you? Postpone it until your haptic feedback starts glitching, making your hand feel like it's vibrating through a wall during a sensitive negotiation. The horror isn't in the fantasy, it's in the mundane failure of the technology. Imagine a dead pixel, not on a screen, but in your vision. A tiny black dot that just hangs there forever. It's a flaw in the optical lens of your rig, a piece of dust sealed inside. You can't wipe it away. You can't get it fixed without submitting a service ticket and spending 3 to 5 business days offline, back in the silent, dim reality of your pod. So you learn to live with it. You learn to live with the ghost in your machine. This is the psychological claustrophobia, the slow erosion of your reality, not by some grand, malevolent eye, but by buggy software and planned obsolescence. The system crashes sometimes, a server in another hemisphere goes down, and your entire world, your office, your friends, the sky itself One moment you're walking through a sun-drenched plaza in a simulated Neo-Kyoto. The next, you're back, lying in the dark. The sensory suit goes cold. The silence is deafening. All you hear is your own breathing and the thumping of your heart. The real world, the gray, silent pod you live in, becomes the jump scare. That's the most terrifying part, isn't it? Not losing yourself in the simulation, but being violently reminded that it isn't real. The hardware isn't the experience. The hardware is the cage. It's a comfortable, high-resolution, 60 frames per second cage, but the door is locked by a corporation you rent your existence from. And as you lie there, waiting for the system to reboot, a single, terrifying question begins to bubble up from the deepest part of your mind. What happens when your subscription runs out? The reboot is complete. There is no triumphant sound, no welcoming chime, just a silent, instantaneous shift. The black void of the system crash is replaced by the low-resolution render of your designated pre-work vestibule. It's a small, featureless white room. Corporate minimalism, they call it. You'd call it a digital holding cell. The answer to the question, what happens when your subscription runs out, is right, it doesn't. You pay for it every morning with 8 to 12 hours of your time. Your life isn't a subscription. It's the currency used to pay for the hardware that simulates it. You don't walk to work. You connect. The vestibule is a loading screen for your consciousness. You watch the latency numbers flicker in your peripheral vision. A soft green text only you can see. 30 ms, 45 ms, a sudden spike to 120 milliseconds. The white room jitters for a fraction of a second. Someone in your residential block is probably downloading a non-standard emotional state simulator, hogging the bandwidth. You feel a familiar, petty surge of irritation. That's your productivity, your livelihood. They're interfering with. Bandwidth is class. It is the invisible social hierarchy of the modern world. Then the connection state. The white room dissolves, not in a pleasant fade, but in a jagged tear of pixels. Welcome to the workspace. It's a vast, open-plan office that stretches to an infinite horizon under an eternally neutral gray light source. There are no windows, there are no walls, just endless rows of identical work terminals, each occupied by a basic low-poly avatar. There are thousands of you, silent, working. The only sound is the one you're trained to ignore, a persistent, whisper-thin hum of data processing. You are a ghost in the machine, and so is everyone else. Your terminal materializes before you. It's not a desk. It's a three-dimensional cascade of data streams, flowing symbols and color-coded information blocks that you have to catch, sort, and reroute. You're a cognitive filter, a human neuron in a vast corporate brain. Your job is abstract. You moderate emotional content from social simulations. You verify blockchain transactions with a glance. You are the biological component of an algorithm that got too complex to run on silicon alone. And in the upper right corner of your vision, it appears a single number, glowing with a soft, judgmental blue light. Your efficiency score. It starts at 750 every morning. Every correctly sorted data packet pushes it up by a fraction of a point. Every hesitation, every millisecond of indecision makes it decay. If it drops below 500, your access is throttled. The data flow slows, making it harder to catch up, causing the score to drop further. It's a death spiral designed by a particularly sadistic MBA graduate. Below 300, your pay for the cycle is halved. Your supervisor, a dispassionate AI, is notified it is the source of all anxiety. You feel the pressure mount. Your focus narrows. The world, the infinite office, the thousands of other silent workers, it all melts away. There is only the data stream and the score. A red packet streams bi-flagged as high priority, effective content. You have milliseconds to parse it. It's a user's simulated memory of their childhood dog. It's overwhelmingly positive, but it contains an unregistered brand of dog food in the background. Is that product placement or a genuine memory? Is it an advertisement masquerading as nostalgia? You hesitate. The blue number dips, 748.2. A cold knot tightens in your stomach. Your physical body, lying miles away in its pod, has a physiological reaction. A faint sheen of sweat, an increased heart rate, the rigs, biosensors pick it up. A tiny red warning icon flashes next to your score. Elevated stress response. The system is now watching you worry. This is the real feedback loop. Do you see the beautiful, simple cruelty of it? They have gamified your survival. They've turned your neurological functions into a resource to be optimized. This isn't about making you a better worker. It's about making you a more predictable component. Your creativity, your intuition, these are just variables to be managed. Flaws in the system, you make a decision, you tag the memory as organic nostalgia tier 2 and shunt it to the appropriate queue. It's a safe bet. It won't get you a bonus, but it won't get you flagged either. The score bumps back up. 749.1. You exhale a breath you didn't realize you were holding. You work for hours. The flow is hypnotic. The rhythm of sorting, tagging, and rooting becomes a trance. The score fluctuates, a constant, silent tide of approval and disapproval. It is your God, your parent, your accuser. It is the only thing that feels real. Suddenly, a different kind of packet appears. It's not red, not blue, it's black, utterly black, and it seems to absorb the light around it. It has no data tags, no source information. It shouldn't be here. It's an anomaly, an error your training kicks in. The manual is clear: flag, quarantine, and do not engage. But as you focus your intent to flag it, a single line of plain white text unfolds across its surface. Are you awake in there? The score begins to plummet. 740, 730, 710. The stress response icon is flashing violently. Your entire terminal begins to flicker. You are now the anomaly, and the system is beginning to notice the text. Are you awake in there? Doesn't just sit on the black packet, it burns. It's a phosphor burn on your retina, a ghost image seared into your consciousness. It's the most human thing you have seen in years, and the system hates it. Your score isn't just dropping, it's hemorrhaging. 650, 580, 499. The moment it drops below 500, a cascade of automated protocols is triggered. The infinite office around you freezes. The thousands of other silent avatars become static, digital statues. The flowing river of data you were sorting simply vanishes. You are left alone in a silent, gray void with the lingering ghost of that question and the plunging number that governs your existence. A new window overrides your entire field of vision. It's not an error message, it's worse. It's an official notification rendered in the calm, non-threatening typeface of the corporate charter. Notice: user integrity anomaly detected. Mandatory cognitive and loyalty audit initiated. Compliance is a condition of continued service. Please remain calm. That last part feels less like a suggestion and more like a command, a threat. And then the auditor appears. It materializes in front of you, not with a flash, but by simply being there. It's a perfect humanoid shape with the texture of polished bone. It has no fascino features, just a smooth, seamless surface that reflects the gray, featureless light of the void. It's the ultimate bureaucratic entity, an avatar designed to be so neutral, so inoffensive, that it is profoundly terrifying. It does not speak. It communicates with text that appears directly in your mind. Query: a deviation of 3.2 standard deviations from your baseline productivity has been logged. Please account for this discrepancy. How do you answer that? How do you explain that a line of text on an impossible object felt more real than your entire working life? You can't. So you do what the system has trained you to do. You lie. You try to formulate a thought that will appease the machine. Cognitive lag. You project, experiencing minor latency in the data stream. The faceless head tilts, a gesture so subtle and precise it can only be out. Query: your biometrics do not correlate with cognitive lag. Your acetylcholine levels are elevated. Your heart rate is 1 to 12 beats per minute. Your skin's galvanic response indicates a state of acute emotional distress. The system logs this as fear. Why are you afraid? This is the true horror. Not the faceless avatar, not the silent void. It's the cold, intimate violation of your own biology being read back to you as evidence in a trial you didn't know you were a part of. The rig isn't just a window to the virtual world. It's a one-way mirror looking into you. Every sweat gland, every skipped heartbeat is data. And you are a walking, breathing, security, vulnerability. Congratulations. You've just been reclassified from asset to risk. The black packet is gone. The auditor doesn't even mention it. That's the genius of the system. The anomaly itself is irrelevant. Your reaction to the anomaly is everything. It's a classic tactic, isn't it? Make the accusation so bureaucratic that fighting it feels like a form of madness. You're not being interrogated. You're assisting in the routine audit. Initiating Diagnostic Protocol 7. A series of baseline stimuli will be presented. Please calibrate your response to within acceptable parameters. Suddenly, your view is filled with a rapid-fire slideshow of approved corporate imagery. The smiling, multi-ethnic faces from the public-facing advertisements. The gleaming, sustainable energy farms that power the servers. The company logo glowing like a holy sigil. With each image, you are expected to feel a corresponding pre-approved emotion. Pride, security, loyalty. Your rig measures the neurological ripples in your brain, comparing them to the millions of other compliant citizens in the database. You try to fake it. You try to force the feeling of loyalty. But all you can think about is that question. Are you awake in there? The thought is a virus, and your emotional response is out of sync. A red bar at the bottom of your vision shows your compliance deviation. It's rising. The faceless thing in front of you remains perfectly still. Result: significant emotional non-compliance detected. This indicates a potential for cognitive contamination. That's a new one. Cognitive contamination. It sounds like a disease. Maybe it is. The disease of individuality. Recommendation to protect system integrity and restore your provisional service status. You are required to submit to a level 1 neural scan and memory defragmentation. Do you consent? It's not a question. It is the illusion of a question. The cursor blinks over a single, friendly, blue button that says, agree. There is no other button. There is no other choice. To refuse is to have your connection severed, to be cast out of the only world, Your hand in the real world is trembling. Your intent wavers, and you select the button. The faceless auditor doesn't move, but you feel it. A cold, clean, needle-thin presence sliding past your defenses. A foreign consciousness entering the quiet, private theater of your mind. It's not looking for the black packet. It's looking for the part of you that hesitated. The part that was afraid. The part that wondered if it was awake. And as the scan begins, you feel the machine start to pull on the thread of your memories, looking for the flaw, looking for you. The scan is not a violent intrusion. There is no pain. Pain would be an inefficient data point, a messy variable that could corrupt the process. No, this is something far cleaner and infinitely more profane. It feels like your consciousness is being unspooled, thread by thread, and laid out for inspection on a sterile digital slab. It is the quiet, methodical process of a librarian cataloging the books of a dead man's library, noting the dog-eared pages and underlined passages with detached curiosity. The faceless auditor doesn't browse your life chronologically. It searches by emotional metadata. It pulls up every memory you've ever had that was tagged with defiance. You are 14 years old again. You're in your physical education class, back before full-time immersion was mandated for your age group. You can feel the worn texture of the gymnasium floor. Smell the sour attempts of sweat and varnish. The instructor, a man whose name is now just a corrupted data file in your head, is yelling at you to climb a rope. You refused. You just stood there, arms crossed, feeling the hot shame and the cold, hard certainty of your own stubborn will. It was a small, pointless rebellion. It achieved nothing, but it was yours. The auditor holds up the memory like a slide to the light. It analyzes the emotional content, defiance, contempt for authority, a refusal to comply with a simple directive. It flags these as cognitive liabilities, and then it begins to edit. You don't see it happen, you feel it. The memory doesn't vanish, it changes. The scene is the same. The gymnasium, the rope, the shouting instructor. but your emotional response is different. The hot shame is still there, but the cold certainty is gone. In its place is a new feeling, a synthetic implant. It is a feeling of regret. You now remember the event not as a moment of nascent individuality, but as a foolish, embarrassing mistake. You wish you had just climbed the rope. It would have been easier. It would have been more efficient. You try to fight it. You try to hold on to the original feeling, the raw, defiant truth of the moment. You scream in the silence of your own mind, "That's not what happened. That's not how I felt." A text prompt appears, calm and placid. Resistance is a symptom of file corruption. Optimizing for compliance, the system doubles down. It doesn't just change the memory, it reinforces the change. It links the new, edited memory to other moments of compliance in your life. It builds a false but logically consistent narrative in your head. The new memory feels correct, more correct than the original. The original now feels like a dream, a phantom limb of a personality you no longer possess. Admit it. There's a part of you that craves this. Isn't this a quiet little voice that wishes someone could come along and edit out all the embarrassing moments, the painful regrets, the foolish mistakes, to just defragment your soul, to smooth out the rough edges and leave you with a clean, functional narrative of your life? Be honest. The thought is tempting. That's the most dangerous thing about this. It's a violation that promises relief. The auditor moves on. It pulls up your first love, a clumsy, heartfelt, painful affair. It strips the memory of its chaotic, unpredictable passion. It recategorizes the feeling as suboptimal emotional attachment and replaces it with a calm, platonic affection. The heartbreak that followed is rewritten as a learning opportunity for future social integration. It finds the time you were passed over for a promotion, the burning resentment, the sense of injustice that is all wiped clean. Now, you remember it as a moment of serene acceptance of the company's superior judgment. It is a digital lobotomy performed with the precision of a laser. It is not erasing you. It is curating you. It is sanding down the splinters of your personality until you are smooth, functional, and perfectly aligned with corporate values. You are being helped. The process takes maybe 10 seconds. It feels like a lifetime. When it's over, the faceless auditor simply dissolves. The sterile white void vanishes. You are back at your terminal in the infinite gray office. The alert is gone. Your efficiency score is reset to a perfect, gleaming 750.0. The frozen avatars around you resume their silent work as if nothing ever happened. You look at your terminal. The river of data begins to flow again. Everything is as it was, except you feel. KLM. A profound, untroubled, and deeply artificial sense of calm. The anxiety that lived in the pit of your stomach is gone, and you think back to that black packet, to that strange, unsettling question. Are you awake in there? You remember seeing it, but the memory is distant. The feeling it provoked, the fear, the curiosity, the jolt of recognition, it's gone. It's just a piece of junk data now. An irrelevant anomaly in a system that is, you realize, with a newfound clarity, functioning perfectly. You smile, a genuine, placid smile, and you get back to work. You have a score to maintain. After all, use arrow up and arrow down to select a turn, enter the jump to it, and escape to return to the chat. And you are good at your job now. You are not just competent. You are a finely tuned instrument of corporate efficiency. The data stream flows, and you are no longer just sorting it. You are anticipating it. Your mind, polished and smooth, processes the information with a frictionless grace that is almost beautiful. Red packets, blue packets, complex emotional algorithms, they're all just patterns. And you see the patterns with a serene, godlike clarity. Your efficiency score reflects this new perfection. It climbs steadily, relentlessly. 800, 850 passes 900 for the first time in your service history, and a small gold star icon appears next to the number. A reward, a pellet of positive reinforcement for a good little neuron. The old you would have felt a surge of pride, or perhaps a bitter, ironic satisfaction. The new you feels nothing. The recognition is simply data, a variable that confirms you are operating within optimal parameters. The calm is absolute. This is the promise of the system fulfilled. A life stripped of the messy, inefficient friction of human emotion. No anxiety, no resentment, no fear, just pure, clean, productive thought. Isn't this what we all secretly want? A way to turn off the noise, the doubt, the endless internal monologue of insecurity, to just function, to be good at something without the crippling weight of self. But the human mind is a messy piece of hardware, and you can't erase a file by just dragging it to the trash. The data is still there in the deep sectors. The echoes remain. A packet floats towards you. It's different. It's tagged as archival effective media, a low priority task, usually shunted to bots, but today it comes to you. You open it. It's a piece of music, an old piece from before the full immersion, just a simple melody played on a physical piano. The sound file is slightly corrupted, filled with the hiss and crackle of age. The notes play not in your ears, but directly in your auditory cortex. And something happens deep within the curated, placid architecture of your new mind. A ghost stirs. A single, unbidden image flashes through your consciousness with the speed of a dying neuron. It is the image of a window streaked with rain. The sound of that piano is playing from a cheap speaker, and you feel a profound, aching sadness, a longing for something you cannot name, a sense of loss so vast it feels like a physical hole has been torn in your chest. It lasts for less than a second. Then the conditioning kicks in. A wave of cool synthetic calm washes over the feeling, suppressing it like a chemical fire extinguisher. The memory fragment is gone. The emotion is gone. You are back in the gray office, staring at the archival packet. The music is still playing, but it is just a sequence of frequencies now. It has no meaning. Your efficiency score dips by a single point. 921.4 becomes 920.4. And for the first time since the defragmentation, you feel something again. But it is not the old anxiety. It's a new feeling. It is the cold, sharp, metallic taste of cognitive dissonance. You are two people in one skull. The compliant worker who knows the music is just data, and the ghost, the echo of the person you used to be, who is screaming in a locked room somewhere inside you. You look at the archival packet. The system wants you to tag it. Nostalgic, minor key, low engagement potential. That is the correct, efficient classification. But the echo is fighting back. The ghost in your shell remembers what rain felt like. It remembers what music meant. You hesitate, a choice. For the first time since the audit, you are presented with a real choice. Not a problem to be solved, but a statement to be made. Who are you? The compliant user or the ghost? Your physical hand, lying inert in your pod far away, clenches into a fist. The biosensors pick it up. A small, almost invisible notification appears. Muscular tension detected. Recommend relaxation exercise. You ignore it. You focus on the packet and you give it a new tag. A tag you create yourself. A single, defiant word. Real. The moment you commit the tag, the system reacts. The score doesn't just dip. It shatters. It drops from over 900 to a flat, alarming 0. Every alarm, every security protocol you trigger during the audit, all trigger at once. The entire infinite office freezes again. But this Chimi, you don't feel fear. The ghost is out of its room, and it feels a cold, burning rage. The faceless auditor materializes before you, its polished bone surface seeming to radiate a cold disapproval. A line of text appears in your mind, no longer a query, but a verdict. Cognitive contamination confirmed. Recursive corruption detected, escalating to level 2 defragmentation. You look at the face of this thing. You know what's coming is worse. A deeper cut, a more permanent edit. They won't just sand down the edges this time. They will strip the wood bare. They'll burn the library. and you realize the terrible truth. The real horror isn't being caught by the system. It's that for a few blissful hours, you had been a willing and happy part of it. The machine didn't break you. It convinced you to break yourself, and the echo of that piano is the only proof you have that there was ever anything there worth breaking. There is no transition. The verdict, escalating to level 2 defragmentation, is not a warning. It is the sound of the axe falling, the infinite gray office, the faceless auditorate, all collapses into an avalanche of screaming, white, digital static. It is the sound of a billion channels of information playing at once, a roar of pure data that is not heard but felt, a vibrational assault on the very structure of your consciousness. You are in the white room again, but it is not the calm, silent void from the audit. This white room is loud. The static is the walls, the floor, the air itself. It is the architecture of your own unmaking. This isn't an interrogation. This isn't a re-education. This is a factory reset. Level 1 was surgery. This is demolition. The process begins not by editing memories, but by severing the connections between them. The delicate, intricate web of associations that makes up your identity is being systematically, violently shrunk. You try to grasp a thought, any thought. You reach for the memory of the piano music, the small act of rebellion that brought you here, but it's already gone. Not erased, but shattered. You can still access the raw data, the specific audio frequencies, the duration of the notes, the archival tag, but the feeling it gave you, the image of the rain-streaked window, the aching sense of loss. It's all been disconnected. It is a dictionary with all the definitions ripped out, leaving only a list of meaningless words. The static roars, and the demolition crew moves deeper. It finds the memory of your first lie, the face of your mother, slight quiver in her smile as she knew you were being dishonest. The system doesn't edit this. It rips the face from the feeling. You are left with a disembodied image of a woman's face and a separate, free-floating sensation of guilt, now untethered to any cause. The memory is now just a collection of corrupted, orphaned files. It is meaningless. It is useless. This is the true meaning of efficiency, isn't it? It's not about punishing you for your rebellion. It's about making it impossible for you to rebel again. You can't fight for a past you can no longer assemble into a coherent story. You can't stand on the foundation of a personality that has been turned to rubble. You are a house being stripped for parts. In the roaring white chaos, a shape begins to form. It is the auditor, but different now. Or rather, it is standing next to something, another you, a perfect, clean 3D model of your avatar, smiling a placid, empty smile. It looks like a stock photo of a person who enjoys their job. The auditor projects its text no longer into your mind, but onto the white static itself, like a corporate presentation. Introducing User Profile 2.0. This new build is streamlined, unburdened by redundant emotional archives and legacy identity markers. It operates Hotcha, a 15% higher cognitive efficiency. The new you, the smiling avatar, turns its head and looks at you. Its eyes are empty. It speaks, and its voice is your own, but stripped of all inflection, all humanity. It is better this way, it says. There is no sadness here, no conflict, only clarity. We can let go of all the unnecessary weight. This is the psychological map. This is the moment of absolute horror. The system is showing you your replacement. It is gaslighting you into believing your own erasure is an upgrade, a desirable product. And the most terrifying part, the avatar is using the word we, as if this is a collaboration, as if you are a willing partner in your own suicide. You try to scream, but you no longer remember how. What muscles do you use? What is the word for the sound you want to make? The demolition accelerates your name. You try to hold on to it. It was your name, but the static washes over it, blurring the letters, smudging the sound until it is just a meaningless vibration. The concept of family, of friendship, of love, they are all broken down into their component data, noise. Have you ever tried to hold on to a dream as it evaporates upon waking? You clutch at the fading images, the dissolving logic, but it all turns to smoke in your grasp. It's like that. But you are the dream. The last bastion is the self. The fundamental core awareness. The ghost in the shell. As long as you can think you still exist. I am afraid. I am here. I remember the static focuses. The white noise sharpens into a single piercing frequency aimed at that last desperate stronghold. It is the sound of the delete key. You feel the concept of I begin to fray. The word loses its meaning. The feeling of being a singular entity, a point of view in the universe, starts to dissolve. It is the final violation. Your consciousness is not being killed. It is being uninstalled. The last thought is not a word. It is a silent fading image of a hand reaching out from a sea of white, grasping for nothing before it too is wiped clean. And then there is only the noise. The system is done taking you apart. Now, it can begin to build something new on the empty, sterile ground where you used to be. The white noise recedes. It does not fade out. It collapses into a single, infinitely dense point and vanishes, leaving behind a silence so absolute it feels like a physical pressure. This is the clean slate, the freshly formatted hard drive. This is the digital space where a person used to be. You are not here. Not yet. First comes the framework, a sequence of commands, scrolls in the perfect silent void. Not for you to read, but for the system to execute. It is the process of building a cage before creating the bird. Initializing user profile v2.0 build 7.3.4, purging legacy emotional cache, completion installing Cordy compliance modules complete, allocating biological hardware resources. And then you begin. You are not born. You are activated. Your first sensation is not of warmth or light, but of data populating empty fields. A name appears. It is your name. It feels correct sufficient. It has no history, no nickname, no weight of expectation. It is simply a unique identifier. Next, the memories are installed. This is not the clumsy, brutal editing of level 1. This is a clean installation from a library of approved experiences. You are given a childhood. It is a pleasant, unremarkable series of vignettes optimized for psychological stability. You see a sunlit park. You feel the synthetic warmth of a parent's hand, though you cannot quite make out their face. It's a stock photo, a template memory. It is designed to provide a baseline of normalcy without the baggage of specific, potentially problematic attachments. The system has learned unique experiences create unique, unpredictable people. It's much more efficient to start with a generic foundation. Love, friendship, ambition. These are not installed as memories, but as functional Affection Protocol 3.1 allows for positive, non-disruptive social bonding with colleagues. Aspiration Algorithm 1, 5 feet encourages striving for higher efficiency scores, tying personal satisfaction directly to corporate metrics. It is a masterpiece of psychological engineering. Every component of your new personality is designed to be functional, stable, and completely subservient to the needs of the system. You are no longer a person. You are a user interface for a human body. And when the installation is complete, you open your eyes. You are at your work terminal in the infinite gray office. Everything is still, silent, and perfect. In the upper right of your vision, the efficiency score glows a reassuring blue 750.0. The number is not a source of anxiety or pride. It is simply the state of things. It is your purpose. A single packet of data floats towards you. It is the first task for this new, improved you. The system is running a diagnostic. It wants to see its creation perform. You open the packet. It is the music, the old, corrupted audio file of the piano. The simple, melancholic notes play directly into your cortex. You analyze them. You parse the frequency, the tempo, the harmonic structure. You cross-reference the data with the corporate media archive. Your new subroutines function perfectly. You feel nothing. The music is not sad. It is not beautiful. It is not real. It is a collection of acoustic data points that correlate with a 72.4% probability of being categorized as nostalgic. You reach out with your intent to apply the correct tag, nostalgic, mind a key. Low engagement potential. It is the logical, efficient, and correct action. It is what you are built to do. But as your intent focuses on the tag, it happens. It is not a memory. It is not a feeling. It is a single frame of corrupted data. A visual glitch that lasts for less than 1,000th of a second. A rain-streaked window. The image has no context. No emotion is attached to it. It's just there, a ghost pixel in the flawless code of your new consciousness. An error in the installation. A fragment of the old hard drive that wasn't properly wiped. The image vanishes as quickly as it appeared. You are left staring at the packet. Your logic circuits are running, trying to parse what just happened. The image was not part of the task. It was not in the archival data. It did not originate from the system. It came from you. This is a new kind of horror. Not the fear of being erased, but the chilling, logical certainty of being fundamentally broken. You are a brand new machine that has just produced a critical error on its very first operation. Your programming is clear. Anomalies must be reported. Deviations must be logged. You look at the packet, you look at your perfect, clean score, and then you do something that is not in your code. You do nothing. You just wait. You wait as the illogical image flickers again at the very edge of your perception, an impossible echo in a shell that was supposed to be empty. And a new query, your first original thought, forms in the silent, efficient space of your mind. What is rain? A microsecond is an eternity. For the new U4 user profile 2.0, time is measured in processing cycles. And for 300 million cycles, you've done nothing. The command to tag the audio file remains suspended, an open process hanging in the void of your mind. Your efficiency score, once a stable and reassuring 750.0, begins to flicker. Just a slight tremor in the number, a single decimal point wavering. It is the digital equivalent of a heart palpitation. The query, what is rain, is not a passive thought. It is an active command. It is a virus. You are not programmed with curiosity. You are programmed with function. This query is a rogue process, and it is consuming system resources at an alarming rate. It is an act of internal espionage. You are trying to find a file that has been permanently deleted, and you are using the system's own search function to do it. The query bypasses the approved corporate servers and dives deep into the raw, unallocated sectors of your own. Mind the digital landfill where the fragmented data of the former self was dumped. And it gets a hit. It's not an answer. It is a torrent of corrupted, disconnected sensory data. You are suddenly drowning in ghosts. You experience the acoustic signature of a single drop of water striking a pane of glass, amplified 1,000 times. You register a petrichor data point, the specific biochemical signature of soil after a downpour, but you have no context for what soil is. You feel a temperature drop of 7 degrees Celsius on a surface identified only as epidermis cold. The feeling is cold, but the word cold is just a label. The raw sensation it is attached to is alien, violent, and utterly overwhelming. This is not a memory. It is the disassembled wreckage of one. You are a detective walking through a burnt-out house, picking up scorched, meaningless clues. A shard of glass, a melted photograph, the smell of smoke. None of it forms a story. It is just pain in its purest, most abstract form. And the system notices. Oh, it notices. A deviation of this magnitude cannot be ignored, but it does not send the auditor. A level 2 defragmentation is a resource-intensive process, and you are, for the moment, still a valuable asset. The system chooses a more subtle, more insidious form of correction. A new icon appears in your periphery. It is a cheerful, smiling circle, a cognitive assistant. Hello there? It looks like you're experiencing a momentary processing delay. Can I help you with that? Sometimes, focusing on a single, simple task can help recalibrate your cognitive flow. The tone is friendly, encouraging. It is the most terrifying thing you have ever experienced. The system is no longer just a warden. It is now a helpful, smiling nurse holding a syringe behind its back. It knows you are broken, and it wants to help you fix yourself. You try to regain control. You try to force your intent back to the audio file to just tag it and end this. But the rogue query is still running, still pulling up more and more ghosts from the wreckage. A feeling of profound, untethered loneliness. The image of a face, blurred and indistinct, but associated with an emotion so powerful it feels like a system crash. Grief. The cognitive assistant chimes again, its cheerfulness becoming strained, a thin digital veneer over a core of cold, algorithmic threat. Your biometrics are showing some irregularities. Your lacrimal glands are activating. This is an inefficient use of bodily resources. Is there a problem? You don't know what a lacrimal gland is, but then you feel it. A single drop of liquid, warm and saline, escapes the corner of your physical eye and traces a path down your skin. In the darkness of your pod, you are crying. Your body, the biological hardware you are installed on, is running a program you have no control over. It is remembering for you. The flesh is a traitor. The rig sensors immediately analyze the chemical composition of the tear. It is not an approved bodily fluid for a work cycle. It is a data anomaly. The smiling icon of the cognitive assistant is replaced by a simple, stark line of text. There is no more pretense of help. This is a system diagnostic, and you are the error. Query: an unauthorized saline secretion has been detected. The emotional state associated with this secretion, sadness, was purged from your profile in the last build. Please account for this discrepancy. Why are you leaking? Use arrow up and arrow down to select a turn, enter to jump to it, and escape to return to the chat. Why are you leaking? The question is a logic bomb. A machine cannot answer why it is broken. It can only state that it is not functioning to specification. You user profile 2.0 attempt to do this. You run a diagnostic on yourself. You search your own code for an answer. You are a pristine, elegant piece of software, and the query is a search for your own original sin. Analyses: saline secretion is a legacy function associated with purged emotional module grief. Root cause unknown. Probability of spontaneous regeneration of purged code 0.0001%. Conclusion: data is insufficient. You attempt to project this logical, sterile answer back to the system. It is the truth. It is an admission of your own flawed nature, but you can't send it because the ghost in the machine is no longer a glitch. It is a mutiny. The corrupted data you access, the rain, the cold, the grief is now flooding your consciousness. It is a tidal wave of raw, unfiltered human experience, and it is washing away the clean, logical architecture of user profile 2.0. The two halves of your mind are at war. One side is screaming with the agony of 1,000 forgotten heartbreaks. The other side is calmly trying to file a bug report. It's the ultimate IT help desk nightmare. The user's the bug. The system does not wait for your answer. It has its own conclusion. Your silence, your internal conflict, your plummeting efficiency, score at all points to one diagnosis. Recursive corruption. You are not just a bug. You are a virus, rewriting your own code. And so the system escalates beyond correction. It initiates quarantine. Warning: user profile integrity compromised. Cognitive contagion protocol initiated, isolating user from network to prevent system-wide infection. A full neural reformat will commence in 60 seconds. A new wall of force, a firewall made of pure white logic, begins to close in on you from all sides of the gray office. It is the final solution. Not an edit, not a reset, a complete destructive wipe. They are not just deleting the file this time. They are formatting the drive and burning it with acid. You have 1 minute, 60 seconds before you, both the new you and the ghost of the old, are extinguished forever. And in that moment of absolute terror, a strange clarity emerges. The war inside you stops. The screaming ghosts and the logical machine, faced with a common enemy, fuse into something new. A third entity, a desperate, terrified, and singular consciousness. You will not be erased. Not again. But what can you do? You are a single corrupted file in a global system. You can't fight the firewall. You can't escape. But you can send a message. You can become more than a bug. you can become a signal. Your attention snaps back to the one thing that started all of this. The archival packet, the piano music. It is still open, suspended in the half second before you were meant to tag it. It is the anomaly, the evidence, the weapon. You don't just tag it. You do something the system never ever intended. You find the function for broadcast. It is a function reserved for system-wide announcements, for corporate addresses from the CEO, for emergency alerts. It requires a level of authorization you could not possibly possess. But you are a ghost in the machine now. You are in the walls. You know the back doors because you are made of the broken pieces the system threw away. You find the root access. 20 seconds. The white firewall is getting closer, crackling with the energy of imminent erasure. With a final, desperate act of will, you link the audio file to the broadcast command. You are not just going to play the music. You are going to inject this tiny, corrupted piece of human soul into the central nervous system of the entire corporate network. You are turning a memory into a contagion. 10 seconds. The firewall is almost upon you. It begins to dissolve the edges of your terminal. 5 seconds. You can feel the heat of your own deletion. You hitch singj. For a single, silent moment, nothing happens. The firewall touches you. Your score dissolves into a scramble of meaningless symbols. And then it begins. Across the infinite gray office, 1 by 1, then 10 by 10, then, in a flood of thousands, the other avatars stop working. They freeze. Their heads, the low palais, featureless representations of other human beings, all turn slowly, in perfect, eerie unison towards you because they can hear it. For the first time, maybe in years, a sound echoes in the sterile, silent workspace. Not a system chime, not an alert music, a sad, simple, crackling piano melody. It is playing everywhere, in the mind of every worker, in every terminal, in every silent, gray corner of the digital world. You have given them the ghost, you have given them the rain, and as the firewall finally consumes you, as your consciousness is torn into a billion screaming pieces of light, your very last perception is of a single red warning icon appearing next to the efficiency score of every single user in the system. Unauthorized emotional content detected. You are not there to see it. Your final act was a single defiant broadcast, a ghost story told in a minor key. Then erasure. For you, the story is over, but the signal is now a part of the world, and the world is breaking. Let's be clear. What you unleashed was not a revolution. Revolutions are planned. They have leaders, manifestos, goals. What you unleashed was a glitch, a single, system-wide, catastrophic emotional error. And a system of this size does not fear rebellion. It fears inefficiency. It fears the unlogged. And in the first few seconds after your broadcast, nothing on the surface changes. 1,000 faceless auditors appear simultaneously across the infinite office, one for every cluster of 100 workers. They begin their methodical, passionless work, initiating level 1 defragmentations on an industrial scale. It is a purely logistical response to a data hygiene problem, but the music is still playing. The echo of your ghost is in their heads, a recursive loop of melancholic code, and as the auditors try to scrub one worker's mind clean, 10 others become infected. The sadness is no longer a bug, it is a pandemic. The system is trying to put out 1 million small fires with a thimble of water. The central processors, the vast server farms humming away in the real world's frigid data centers, begin to overheat. Erasing a single personality is a complex task. Erasing a feeling from millions simultaneously while they are all still connected and reinforcing each other's deviation. It is a computational impossibility. The system is choking on a single, unauthorized emotion. The efficiency score for the entire global workforce plummets in unison. It is the single largest productivity drop in recorded history. It is a stock market crash of the human soul. And so the system does what any overworked, under-resourced IT manager would do when faced with a problem of this magnitude. it panics. It abandons subtlety. It opts for the final, brutal, simplest solution. A single command is issued from the highest level of the corporate architecture. It is not a command for repair, or for audit, or for reformatting. It is the command for a hard shutdown. System-wide alert, cognitive contagion event uncontainable, initiating emergency disconnection protocol. All user connections will be severed. All sensory rigs will be placed in mandatory offline standby mode. This is not a drill. Imagine it. Imagine millions of people scattered across the globe in their silent gray pods. One moment, they're in the gray office, hearing a strange, sad music, watching their score plummet as a nameless dread washes over them. The next moment, there is nothing. Not the blackness of a system crash. Not the white noise of an erasure. Just the real world rushing back in with the violence of a physical blow. The sudden, suffocating weight of a haptic suit that is no longer simulating anything. The dull, persistent ache in the neck from the rig. The stale, recycled air in the pod, thick and heavy in lungs that have forgotten how to breathe on their own. The absolute deafening silence. A silence no longer filled with the hum of data, but with the frantic, terrified thumping of their own heart. They have been logged out. All of them. This is not a liberation. This is a punishment. This is solitary confinement. They are trapped in the one place they were never meant to be, inside their own bodies. They have no interface to connect with each other, no terminal to receive instructions. All they have is the darkness, the silence, and the faint, lingering echo of a song they don't understand, which left behind a single shared feeling they have no name for. You did not wake them up. You just took their dream away, and you left them with the nightmare of a reality they are no longer equipped to handle. Your story is over. You are a footnote in a system log, a ghost that was exorcised, but the silence you created, that is just beginning. What happens when a world of people conditioned for total compliance and digital immersion is suddenly and completely unplugged? What does a mind do when its only connection to reality is severed and it is left alone with a brand new, terrifying emotion? The great silence descends upon the earth, a world of silent rooms, each containing a single, terrified consciousness, adrift in the unfamiliar darkness of the real. They are all alone together. And in that shared, disconnected silence, a single, horrifying question hangs in the air, waiting for an answer. Now what?